Good evening, everybody. It is Monday, February 24th, 2025. We are actually starting not late today, which is great for us. Um, it is another great night for Coach's Corner. I'm producer Scott. I don't know if you knew that or not. I hope you did by now. I have got to tell you a quick word about the Harbor Group Planned Wealth. Are you nearing retirement? I am not. But if you are, they can help you retire with confidence, especially if you have questions like what specific steps should you take before retiring? When should you draw Social Security? How do you manage investment risk? How much will health insurance cost if you retire? If you're over 62, how much money can you earn part-time without affecting your Social Security and or your pension? And is it really possible to get a raise if you retire? If you want all those questions answered 100% factually guaranteed, 100%, I actually don't know. Call Jessica Rhodes, the VP at the Harbor Group at 765-393-1074 or email Jessica at harborgroup, Harber group.com, or you can visit their website, which is, you guessed it, harborgroup.com. We've got a great episode tonight. We've got three great guests. We're going to talk about what the heck's wrong with Purdue. We are going to do that right after this.
Coach's Corner with Coach Heck and the infamous Coach Patrick King. You're stuck with me, man.
I'm stuck.
You are stuck with me. I ain't going anywhere.
There's a lot of people that are jealous of me for sitting here, and there's some people that there's a little sympathy going on at the same time.
There's more people that are sympathetic to you. I'm just saying that much right now. Just remember what Ron Hecklinski said today. And you ain't that good. The scouting report said you were pretty good. You ain't that good. Oh, man. Are you kidding me?
Coach's Corner with Heck and King is sponsored by Tony Letcher with Health Markets Insurance, Han Funeral Homes, and Frick's Driving School in Mishawaka. For those of you on YouTube, make sure to comment in the chat, like the video, and subscribe to the channel. Please and thank you. Now here's Heck and King.
Man, do I like that applause. We are here.
Standing ovation.
Thank you. No, it reminds me of when I got introduced at Manchester College. 6'5", about 215, power forward from South Bend, Indiana. Three of the girls' dorms would stand up and give me a standing ovation.
And the crowd went mild.
Yes, they did. and we are so we are bringing the show tonight from the great Linebacker Lounge in beautiful South Bend, Indiana. The weather's gone a little bit warmer today. What a great day today. About 52 degrees.
50, yeah.
I'm going to cut my grass tomorrow. I'm thinking about cutting my grass tomorrow. Get through the snow and get some stuff cut. But we are so happy to be joining you tonight. On my right, the great Pat King. Just an outstanding former head basketball coach, assistant football coach in the great state of Texas. To Pat's right is Kenny Peterson, our wonderful fact checker, and he keeps us on the straight and narrow. So Kenny,
the mayor of New Carlisle.
He is the mayor of New Carlisle, man. He is the mayor of New Carlisle, and New Carlisle doesn't even have a mayor.
That's right.
We've appointed him the mayor.
Yeah, I was appointed years ago, and that every election year, there's one vote that's cast, and that's mine, and that's it.
Hey,
it's like Saddam Hussein.
Well, I'm a little nicer than Saddam.
We got to get you on the ballot.
Well, in 2 years, the population of New Carlisle is going to triple. So maybe
they'll have to elect a real mayor.
They have a factory going up there, right?
A couple,
yeah.
A couple of them.
I mean, so
Amazon and the
just something
plant.
Small like Amazon, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
And it's a heck of a construction.
There's 23 buildings out there by the Studebaker test ground.
So how would you like to be the new football coach coming into New Prairie, with new families moving in? Maybe the basketball coach would get a couple players, but here's the question: with all of this, factory opening up, is there enough housing for new people in New Carlisle?
That's a good question. It's probably going to be people living east of town or up in Michigan.
Is there housing in New Carlisle?
There is housing, but it's pretty expensive.
Well, I don't think money is going to be an issue with all of the corporate people moving in and stuff like that.
Right.
I think they're going to have to live someplace and move in. They're probably going to have another stop on the South Shore and all kinds of stuff over there.
Yeah, because they're talking about one right there, right by the American Legion. There.
So maybe New Prairie won't get as many like new student athletes moving in as we think because there's just not enough housing for the new people.
Well, and there's also places, it's close enough to Niles and Buchanan.
Well, the Niles and Buchanan and those places are going to flourish.
Yes.
So let me ask you this question: would there be any way that there could be a tent city in New Carlisle? Would they ever do that?
There will never be a tent city. No, there's a camping
Take
ground
notes
city.
from the mayor of Austin.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just asking.
Yeah, we have a tent city. It's called Mini Mountain.
Oh, okay.
It's very populated in the summer.
All right, let's talk some basketball.
Yeah, let's talk some basketball.
We are going to talk basketball, and we have three great guests tonight. We're going to have Phil Washington, the head coach at Lawrence Central, on about 7. We're going to have Shane Sumter, who's the head coach at Westfield, 17-3 Westfield. Mm-hmm. They will play the number 1 team in the state in the sectional. Westfield is number 3. So, again, we will bring this argument up with these coaches, seeding the sectionals. Mm-hmm. Because Phil Washington, Lawrence Central drew Lawrence North.
Right.
In the first round of the sectional.
Yep.
So, I'll be interested to see. And then we're going to talk to a friend of mine, Glenn Heffernan, who was an assistant coach with me at Ball State, and he's been everywhere in Arizona on D1 staffs. He's now an assistant coach at St. Francis, Illinois, and we're going to talk to him about the amount of talent that I've seen in the CCAC, and the kids are just really, really good. And then we're going to talk about the 5 or 6 European guys that he has on his roster, and which assistant coach had to go out to Europe to recruit these guys.
I don't know how
did they go?
Yeah.
Or they Zoom them.
Well, we'll find out. But I was looking at a lot of those kids that come from prep schools and JUCOs and stuff too. Right. So I don't think they're directly coming in from Israel or Ukraine or wherever else they're from.
And Glenn, his nickname is Red, and Red will give us the straight scoop on all of that. But you're exactly right, man. Big Ten basketball yesterday, and what we saw was something that was very similar to how we saw IU play. Just very lethargic, not getting after it, taking questionable shots, and down 12, 37-25.
Yeah, first half.
In the first half.
Looked like IU.
And then the second half, someone lit their asses up in the locker room, maybe? I don't know, because I don't know what he does that.
I don't know. If he didn't, maybe somebody else did.
And maybe they should continue to do that because they outscored Purdue 48-21 in the second half to beat Purdue 73-58.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. It was very impressive. But also, again, it's like, where's this been? So the IU people have to be happy that they won that game, but they also need to be angry as can be that these players haven't been doing this all season, because that was probably the best half of basketball that I've seen them play since Christmas easily, and maybe all season.
Well, sometimes, and you guys know this as coaches, sometimes it no longer comes down to X's and O's, and when you have a halftime speech, sometimes it's challenging them to their face for their pride, their manhood a little bit. Maybe that happened a little bit in that locker room at halftime too.
Well, I don't know. I don't know what happened, but I'm right with you on that, Pat. I think that's a huge condemnation against IU.
Yeah.
Because what that did was show that IU can play.
And it also showed it's not the coach.
No.
Yeah. Well,
it's not the coach.
I don't know about that. But it showed that they can play. And I tell you, in my estimation, defensively, it was a tale. Purdue couldn't make a pass.
Well, and IU has not been able to play defense all year, and all of a sudden they were defending. They were in passing lanes. They were bumping cutters. One of the things I looked at,
kicking guys in the nuts.
Yeah, that happened early.
Yeah,
and you know what?
He should have been ejected.
Right. Yeah, but I'm trying to think.
I agree.
I can't think of that. That's not any different than me busting some guy right in the mouth 50 years ago when we played Michigan City.
Well, yeah, but here's the difference, okay? And I'm just going to be straight up with you. There wasn't a camera 2 inches from it, and they didn't show it on TV.
Good point.
Hell, I had elbows.
Well,
my elbows were sharp too.
If you look, the referee was standing there looking right at it, and as soon as he kicked him, that referee's hand went straight in the air. I mean, the referee was sitting there staring right at it.
I mean, that's why they have replay, and it was so visible on replay. And then when those clowns came back and said, "There's not a foul, there's nothing,"
it's like, let's play.
Really?
Yeah.
Chinese Jeffrey Anderson for you.
Wow.
And then Caleb first got him a nice little moving pick about 2 minutes later and got called for a foul.
Yeah.
Well, I got to share this with you. I don't know if you knew this on Saturday, Pat. One of our officials for the semi-state girls championship game was Raleigh Thill. Raleigh does college basketball, the CCAC.
Mm-hmm.
And so he had a situation that happened in his game at Olivet this past Saturday where a girl came across and she got clotheslined by another player, got dumped immediately. No replay, no nothing. Dumped immediately because she clotheslined this girl.
Well, I got news for you. There ain't no replay in CCAC.
No, there's not.
And there ain't a challenge flag either, man.
No. But he made the decision. I mean, they dumped it without even having to look. I mean, sometimes you have to use some common sense and say, yeah, sometimes you don't need this little screen here to confirm that what you see.
I agree. All right, answer me this, and maybe some of you people that are home that are listening. Why did Mbako and Ballo not start?
Well,
Mbako only played 9 minutes.
Yeah, I don't think there's any question about that because they don't play hard consistently.
Mm-hmm.
And Ballo, I mean, it's proven that IU plays better when they don't play two bigs.
Yeah.
I mean, two bigs, the theory, everything behind it. Let's go high-low. Let's look to dump it in. The spacing in today's college basketball is really important, and those guys like to slash so much. When you're in that high-low place, there's not a lot of room unless the guy who flashes high empties up.
Well,
and plays that two guard position.
I didn't watch enough of wasn't watching it serious enough in that first half because the matchup was IU had 4 guards and Purdue had 3 guards. So my question was, who guarded Caleb first? Because we kind of guessed that.
Well, it wasn't the first guard; it was the second guard.
Okay, who's on first?
No, he's not on first.
All right, but Malik Renaud.
Yes, he is.
He is on first.
Renaud.
Yeah, who's on first?
You guys are killing me.
No, the 2 guard was on first.
Okay, he was on first.
Then who was the 1 guard on?
He was on third. Yes, Kaufman Wren was being guarded by Renaud. I'm guessing.
Okay.
So my question was,
what's your question?
Who's playing left field? You're killing me, Smalls. I was trying to ask a legitimate question. You guys are busting my balls.
Well, no. Go ahead and ask your question, man. I'm curious now.
I can't remember.
Okay, Renaud was on Wren.
I saw a couple of times when they had Lael was like guarding the post man.
Yeah, he was,
and he was fronting him and backed under him. And I think that's why that was what he was guarding. He was fronting Caleb first when he backed under him, and then they hooked each other up, ended up on the ground.
Yeah, no, without question. He was trying to block him out on a rebound, and it's that old, how long do you block out for?
Mm-hmm.
Right. Do you continue to root him out, or is it what all of us coaches always talk about, contact and react?
Go get the ball.
Yeah, go get the ball.
Make contact and then react to the ball.
Mm-hmm.
And some guards, when they get down on bigs, they keep rooting, and then that big elevates.
They took his landing
area, and they take his landing area, they take his legs out, and then the coach and the player says, "What?
Mm-hmm.
I'm blocking him out." No, you're not. You're rooting him out.
Right.
So I think that there's a lot of, and I'm going to tell you who I think teaches rebounding better than anybody is Tom Izzo. And Tom Izzo uses that arm bar, that arm check,
mm-hmm.
and then reacts.
You hit him.
Hit it and get it.
Yeah, you don't have to turn and block him out. The first thing you do is you look at him and you just bust him right in the chest with that forearm.
Hit it and get it, and then react to the ball.
Yeah.
Right.
Because with so many threes today, the long rebounds are really huge, and a quick 3 and a long rebound will always lead to a run out basket.
Exactly.
Okay, the left fielder was why.
Understood. Because
he was in center.
No, I thought it was you.
Tomorrow.
I thought it was you, Darvish.
Tomorrow's pitching.
Yeah. Is that
okay? You was pitching
today.
Okay.
Yesterday.
Okay. Yesterday. Okay. So anyway.
So tonight,
uncharacteristic.
Michigan plays Nebraska. By the way.
Okay. I want to go back to this for a second.
Okay.
An uncharacteristic game by Braden Smith, with six turnovers, and being ripped as he's bringing the ball up in the second half. And
sometimes they just took his cookies from him right there in front of him.
Well, yeah, and so I say kudos to IU for being able to play like that. And then again, I go back to my old school mentality, where the hell have you been?
Yeah, Miles Rice picked his pocket at least three times.
Yeah, I mean, where have you been? And it wasn't because IU shot the hell out of the ball and Purdue didn't, because IU was 4 for 19 from three for 21%, and Purdue was 43% from downtown. IU was, or I think Purdue was 52% for overall, and Purdue was 42%. But the rebounding was pretty much the same.
Right.
But I just think defensively, the intensity that IU came out with, and I don't know if the locker room at halftime for Purdue was, hey man, we got this, another 12-point game. I mean, IU's going to quit.
Steals were 16-7.
Yeah, it was 16-7 in turnovers. That's what it was.
That's a big deal, and so then you got points off of turnovers as well.
Yeah, without question. And so good for IU.
Yeah,
I think that's a program-defining win for Woody. I think he still needs his lifetime contract.
Well, I'm pretty sure he went in today and said, "Hey, I was just kidding about all that shit about me quitting. I want to coach now.
Bring him back.
I want to coach." But I will say this much: throughout the whole thing, there's been one staple that I've really liked at IU, and that's Trey Galloway. I think Trey Galloway has always tried to play hard.
We've always said
and always tried to play the right way.
He's been the glue man, so to speak. And,
great career at Culver Academy.
Yeah, and he's done well. And
played 38 minutes.
Yeah, he played, and he had 15 points.
Yeah, I think,
and 9 assists.
All right, so
he had the 9 assists that game.
Yeah, and we'll have to say this, and Matt Painter will have to answer this question. That's 4 L's in a row for Purdue.
Right.
So where does Purdue go from here, and where does IU go from here?
Well, Purdue's got UCLA coming to town here pretty soon this weekend.
I mean, you got their schedule?
Yeah, they've got Friday night, UCLA at Purdue.
Friday night again?
That's your Friday night Fox game.
UCLA, Rutgers, and they finish at Illinois.
Yeah, so
that's not a picnic.
No, I mean they could go 5 in a row. What about the Hoosiers?
IU has Penn State at home on Wednesday.
Yeah, and that would be a shame.
And then they play again Saturday out at Washington.
That would be a shame if IU did not use this great win against Purdue to their advantage and get on a roll in the Big Ten tournament.
I agree.
So they got what did we say? They got Penn State Wednesday, but then they're doing their West Coast swing because they have at Washington and then at Oregon, and then they come back and play Ohio State to close out.
Yeah,
at the Hall of Calls.
Most everybody's got 3 left, I believe.
Yeah,
the Hall of Calls.
Yeah, so hey, okay, before we get back into Big Ten, I got to bring something up because I thought this was really interesting, to be quite honest with you, and I don't think any of us are New York Yankee baseball fans here. I don't know, Kenny, are you a Yankee fan?
Oh, Cubs all the way.
Pat, I don't even think you're a baseball fan.
I like the Yankees, believe it or not.
Oh, okay.
I'll watch
good.
the Yankees, so tell me something.
Yeah, so
speaking of Culver Academy.
Yeah, George Steinbrenner, of course. But so after every game, regardless whether it's a win or a loss, they've always sang Frank Sinatra's version of New York, New York.
Yes.
And it's great. But the player said, we're tired of that, man. We're tired of when we lose to play a celebratory type of song. So they're going away from that, and they're only playing New York when they win now. A la the Cubs.
Who played the song at spring training games in Mesa.
Oh, exactly.
They're playing it like they won the other day. They're playing "Go Cubs Go." There's 5,000, 6,000, 7,000 fans singing "Go Cubs Go" for a game that's an exhibition game.
No, I get it.
That's not what I thought you were going to talk about the Yankees.
But
me either.
I'm going to talk about the Yankees now because this is point number 2. They're going away from the fact that you have to be clean shaven.
That's right. That's what.
Devin Williams came in. He's a reliever. He's a reliever from from the Milwaukee Brewers, a big-time reliever, and he's used to having a big-time beard, and he was really upset about this. And Hal Steinbrenner met with a couple of players, and the first team picture that Devin Williams came in, he had a shadow, man. It wasn't the full beard, but it was, I don't know, maybe a 5-day growth beard. And the next day, Hal Steinbrenner came out and said, "Hey, we're going to let you guys wear beards. They got to be trimmed.
Right.
You can't look like Craig Kimbrough or Justin Turner, and your hair's got to be the same on the back of your collar.
Right.
But we're going to let you have some facial hair." Now, you have a lot of the Yankee traditionalists.
Mm-hmm.
One of them being Aaron Judge.
Mm-hmm.
Aaron Judge was upset about this and pissed about this. And Aaron Judge said, I've been a Yankee forever and ever and ever, and this is what I grew up with, and this is what I believe to be the deal.
Right.
And it really did upset him.
I can understand that. There's going to be some pushback on that because, whether, I don't know, some people may not have known that, but if you were a Yankee, you had to cut your hair and you had to shave.
Yeah. And
like all the people to change the rule for too, like a mid-level reliever. I remember when Johnny Damon signed over there, and it was like it was a huge deal that he acquiesced and went with it.
Yes, he did.
He did go with it, and so when you want to talk about rebel without a cause, it's Johnny Damon.
Johnny Damon went from the Red Sox to
the long hair, the great beard.
Mm-hmm.
And you see him one day, the next day you see him in the pinstripes, and he's got the haircut, he's got the beard off. And Johnny Damon said, "Hey, I'm with the Yankees. I got to do what the Yankees do."
That's right.
So and I don't know. It is a different time that we live in now, and a lot of athletes like James Harden. That thing would make me crazy.
Oh.
Have you seen pictures of him when he was younger though? Before he had the beard.
I don't even know.
He is a rough look.
Yeah, maybe the beard's good for him. I don't know.
Well, weren't the Oakland A's one of the first ones in the 70s to really allow their players to grow mustaches and all that?
The
back of the Raleigh Fingers and Sal Bando and that group.
Oh yeah, they were rebels, man. Joe Rudy.
They were the Oakland Raiders of
baseball.
Baseball.
Be sure they were Charlie Finley, and they were good. And I think the Yankees were always a step apart from those kind of teams because their players came in and their players looked. Well, it's like when I was a high school player. My high school coach, Bob Downwall, said, "Hey, you want to play basketball at St. Joe? You're getting your hair cut." Right. I mean, you're getting your hair cut. You can't have facial hair. There's James Harden right there.
Scott, you are a dandy.
Yeah, I don't think he's that rough, but so
I think it's just the shock factor, maybe.
Yeah, exactly. So
who is that?
Yeah.
So what? And I don't know about you, but once I get a head coaching job,
I think when we were coaching was one of the first things we did.
You're shaving. Hey guys, I got guys at Anderson and stuff that had the Fu Manchus. I said, "No, guys, you're shaving."
Ken Schreiber at LaPorte for 38 and a half years had a rule about how long your hair could be, no facial hair, none of that. And he enforced it from the first day he took the job to the day he retired. And everybody understood that if you wanted to play for Ken Schreiber, you had to follow Ken Schreiber's etiquette rules. And that was one of them. Clean shaven, hair trimmed like everybody else. Everybody on the team.
Exactly. That's how my high school coach was.
Yeah.
And I remember the story when Bill Walton came to John Wooden and said, "Coach, listen, man, it's his senior year." And he said, "Coach, I don't think I'm going to shave this year, and I don't think I'm cutting my hair this year. I want to keep it." And all John Wooden says, "William, we're going to miss you.
We're going to miss you.
We're going to miss you, William."
Well, and I had some kids at Adams that didn't want to cut their dreads because they'd had them since 6th grade. And I said, good luck to you playing at the Y.
and
Charles Black Center.
And who would have backed you 100%? Who would have backed you?
John Wooden.
No, stop. South Bend. George McCullough. The principal at Washington. When he wouldn't let kids into school with the dreads.
With the dreads. I know.
And he stood outside on the first day of school and said, I'm sorry, guys. I told you to cut your dreads. You're not coming in school. I'm not having students at Washington High School.
He was old school because he remembered what he had his history lessons down.
Yeah, no, the cornrows, the whole thing.
Of what they represented.
He took some flack, but he stood his ground.
Yeah, I mean, and I had haircuts for the white kids and the black kids. You know, the white kids, it was 2 fingers here and bottom of your earlobes.
What'd you have with the Mexicans? Anything?
Didn't have any at that time.
Oh, okay. Well,
that was
I'm
a
just
different
asking,
time period.
because I did. I said, guys, you got to do this. Coach, it's in our heritage that we have a mustache. Well, okay, enjoy yourself. I mean, buy yourself a season ticket. Hope you get a good seat at the Wigwam.
So, I mean, my kids, I said, if you want to play for Adams, here's what you're. And I flat told them, I said, whether you like it or not, your hair is my hair from November 1st until
I like
the
that.
season's over. I said, when the season's
Until we
over,
win the
I don't
state
care.
finals, dang it.
Yeah, dang it. Until we're finished. I said, after that, when it's a golf season, baseball, I don't care what you look like.
So here's my question to you now, and any of our listeners: go to a high school basketball game today.
I couldn't.
And kids got full beards.
I couldn't coach.
They got full beards. They got long hair. I mean, it's amazing to me. It's amazing to me that I don't know. My dad would never have let me, do that anyway.
No.
I wouldn't let them wear T-shirts underneath their shirts. I wouldn't let them wear their Kobe sleeves or any of that stuff. I said, if you don't wear it for practice, you're not wearing it for the game.
Yeah, it's just different. I mean, and I'm not saying I'm not condemning it. I'm not saying it's horribly bad. But the fact of the matter is, when kids played for me, or when I was growing up playing for my coach, they ran the show. Or myself as a coach, I ran the show. And it was the same thing with the color of tennis shoes you're wearing. We bought a team tennis shoe. We had a team sock. I mean, I go to a game now, I see kids in pink socks, yellow socks, purple socks, gray socks, white socks.
I bought them socks.
Exactly.
Go Sox.
Well, we had kids that were trying to wear like footies, no shows. I said, no, we're not doing that.
No.
And
I got to see some socks.
Yeah, and so let me ask you this question. Did that make a difference in how they played? No. It did not make a difference in how they played. But my rationale was always, we're going to all look the same because we all represent the school that we're at.
The name on the
and
front.
the name on the front. And we're not going to try, this kid had $300 pair of shoes. This kid had $100 pair of shoes. We're going to be the same.
Now when you guys played, you had to wear suits and ties to road trips, didn't you?
We did, yes. They handed us a sport coat. We had sport coats.
And we didn't have to. But to answer your point, I always had travel sweats. When we hit the road, we had a nice travel sweat that the kids had to wear.
And that's what we eventually got to ourselves.
Yeah, travel sweats. And then here's and I don't even know how we got on this part of the show, but Phil's going to be on here in a minute. But here's the thing. When teams come to the other gym now, they have a little workout.
Right.
And instead of just horse assing around and shooting shots from half court, I got this workout from watching Al Rhodes when he was at Warsaw. And the kids had a certain type of uniform they had to wear. I mean, I got them some shorts, a nice T-shirt, and we did our workout. But when it came time at halftime of the JV game, I would never let my kids in there. Well, first of all, they never had slippers on. They never had flip-flops on. They had their game shoes on. I would never let them come out and just go onto the floor and horse ass around with the crowd of the JV there.
Yes, right.
If I was an athletic director,
I wouldn't let it happen.
I would not let it happen because, number one, I don't want people coming in with dirt on their slippers or whatever, and now we got to mop the floor.
Right.
So I don't know. It's just so I'd like to bring this up with Phil a little bit and Shane.
We're old-fashioned
when we get down, but and they're they're the new school type of coaches, and I'm pretty sure from watching their teams, maybe they don't care if they have a team shoe or not. Maybe they don't care if a guy who's wearing a white sock or a black sock or a pink sock, and maybe they're more in tune to, hey, the kids are got to be themselves now. I don't know.
And
Hey,
that's
why
the-
don't you
and the
take us to break,
season's-
Scott? And then hopefully Phil will be ready to roll then.
Sure, we will have more of maybe some more sock discussion or whatever else we get into right after these messages.
Medicare plans can be confusing, but they don't have to be. I'm Tony Letcher, licensed insurance agent. I can help you compare your options because I'm appointed with many nationally recognized carriers. With my help, you can find the coverage that fits your needs and budget. I don't want you to be my client today. I want you to be my client forever. Call Tony Letcher today to schedule your free consultation or visit tletcher.com.
In times of loss, finding a place that offers comfort, support, and understanding is essential. At Hahn Funeral Home in Mishawaka, they've been helping families honor their loved ones with dignity and respect since 1976. With compassionate professionals who listen to your needs and provide personalized services, Hahn Funeral Home ensures that every detail is taken care of so you can focus on what truly matters. From traditional services to cremation options, Hahn Funeral Home is here to guide you through every step. For more information, visit hahnfuneralhomes.com or call 574-255-1474. Hahn Funeral Home, a family serving families. Looking to hit the road with confidence, Frick's Driving School in Mishawaka has been helping drivers of all ages gain the skills they need for a lifetime of safe driving. With experienced patient instructors, including Pat King, and flexible scheduling, Frick's makes learning to drive easy and stress-free. Whether you're a first-time driver or need a refresher, like heck, Frick's has you covered. Plus, for just $65, Frick's offers the state driving exam in-house. No need to go anywhere else. Visit fricksdrivered.com or call 574-256-0650 to get started today. Hey, we're back. Let me get you here with another quick word about the Harbor Group Planned Wealth. As you look at my beautiful face, some might say that. I don't think a lot of people would. But if you're nearing retirement and you have a bunch of questions about your monies, your cashish, your dough, your moolah, whatever you call it, call the Harbor Group at 765-393-1074 to talk to Jessica, who's the VP over at the Harbor Group, or you visit their website, harborgroup, HARBER group.com. And we are pleased to welcome the head coach of the Lawrence Central Bears. It's Coach Phil Washington, and hopefully he can be heard this time.
Yeah.
Philly.
Can you guys hear me?
Hey. Yeah, baby.
We paid our Verizon bill.
How
There
are
it
you,
is.
man?
Good, man. How you doing?
I'm really good, man. I mean, I struggled a little bit at the beginning in the fall. I mean, I had a fall and broke my neck a little bit, but I'm back, man. I'm
I heard
rolling
about
again.
that.
Yeah,
I'm back.
How do you break your neck a little bit?
Yeah, that was crazy when I found out about it. I said, man, how he broke his what? They was like, yeah, he broke his neck.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was down. He was
Yeah,
down.
well,
Don't
I was
let him fool you. He was hurting.
No, I was about a centimeter from it hitting the cord, man. So God was with me,
Yeah.
and I appreciate that 100%. Let's talk about them Lawrence Central Bears, man. I mean, you're kind of going along. You're in a deal where you're around 500. You win 2, you lose 1, and now all of a sudden you pull off 3 great wins against your old buddy Norm. I mean, did that hurt you to beat him 101-68? Did that hurt you?
What the thing was about that, like if you was to watch the game, we hit 23s that game. So
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so it was just like, and like I told, I mean, Norm even said, he was just like, man, it's like, it was nothing that we could have done about it. And at that point where everybody's firing like that, you see NBA games and college games where they don't even come close to 23s made. So it was just a special night. So I think it helped us with our confidence though, big time.
Yeah, but you know what I would tell Norm? And Norm would say, there ain't nothing we could. I said, Norm, guard him.
Yeah.
Guard him, Norm. There's something you can do.
No, I tell you, that was real funny. Something was real funny. Like after we hit probably like the 7th-3, one of his players ran down by our bench and was just like, Coach said they can't shoot. Coach said they can't shoot.
That's
So-
Norm Scott reports.
So we were like,
Isn't that the right report you had on him?
Yeah, no, hey, can I tell you this little story about us in the sectional at Richmond? Norm's senior year, we're playing Muncie Central, and we're in the semifinals. Muncie Central had Ben Botts. That's when they were really good.
Yeah.
And we're playing, and Norm takes the first 6 shots of the game. Now, Norm was the best defensive player in America, and he was really good at taking the ball to the rack and finishing, but he couldn't shoot to save his ass, right? I mean, I love Norm, and I tell this to his face, and I call timeout, and we're down 10 zip. We're down 10 zip, and I call timeout. I said, Norm. He said, Coach, they ain't guarding me. I said, Norm, I know they ain't guarding you. They are not going to guard you.
For a reason.
Yeah, I said, Norm, you take another shot and your career's over right now. But no, he's just done a magnificent job with that program, hadn't he?
Yes. I'm happy for them. I think they're going to make a good run in the state.
You say they're favored in their sectional, that's for sure.
Yeah.
They've got to go down to Broad Ripple and play, right?
Yes, they do. Yes, they do. And it's kind of like ironic. If things work out how they're supposed to work out, I think there will be APA and Liberty Christian playing at Broad Ripple. So you'll have 2 Anderson teams playing at Broad Ripple.
Yeah, that's what I saw. That.
So obviously, there got to be players in Anderson, because enough players for Norm to get at Liberty, enough players for Donnie at Anderson. And then where's Anderson Prep fit into this whole equation now? I don't get this.
Anderson Prep is the old South Side.
Yeah, but where are the players coming from? They've been around for 10 years.
They're all there. You got to think about it. It used to be Anderson and Highland, and then before that, it was Anderson, Highland, and Madison Heights. So
those kids aren't going to. They're not going to Pendleton anymore. They're staying in town.
Yeah, that's what it's looking like now. Now they're starting to retain them.
Okay.
Yeah, and then last weekend or 2 weekends ago, at Greenfield Central, and you're playing against a kid going to UConn, Mullins.
Yeah.
You beat them by 9. Talk about that game a little bit.
To start off the game, their coach. I love the coach. We had a great conversation before the game. He needed games like us because they don't really play people like us. That being, mid game or a team that, pretty much, presses you and speeds you up. So they don't really play those type of games. So he said it would be good for them, going to their sections, because they do have to deal with Anderson High School. They're going to have to play Mount Vernon and whatnot. So, I felt like we needed this game as well, not only to play against a McDonald All-American, but their team is rolling. They were number 2 at the moment, so they do things the right way. So we want to definitely challenge ourselves and definitely make that game happen. I didn't want it to be on Valentine's Day; it just so happened to be Valentine's Day. But we came in there with a game plan. We executed. We really wanted Mullins to work for everything that he had. He still ended up with 28. It was crazy, but we made everybody else. We challenged everybody else to beat us, and we did a good job on that. They fulfilled the game plan, and
So okay, and in that game, then you have a shootout. 79-70.
Yeah.
I would consider that a shootout.
We had 3 guys with 20.
Yeah, that's amazing. And then the next night, you got to go and you got to play a game against a physical team.
Yes.
It's not going to be a shootout. It's going to be a knockdown, drag-out game. And you got to show that you can play 2 different style of games.
Yes.
And Ben Davis comes to your place, and you win 55-50 in that kind of a game. Man, that's got to make you so happy.
Yeah, we were down 9. We got down 9 in the third quarter, and we fought our way back. And I've been asking my coaches and people that watch the game, and what is it about Ben Davis that makes you play so slow, sluggish, or like they beat you up? Like you said, it's a physical game. Like a lot of those shots weren't falling for my guys. My guards that scored 20, he shot the ball like 16, 19 times, and he only hit like 5 field goals. And a lot of those field goals, he was hitting the night before. So the way that they make you grind out games, you can really commend, Don and what he does over there with Ben Davis, because those kids are like a factory, like, you know, and they had like 3 or 4 guys that were 6'8" plus.
Coach, I was looking at your schedule here while you were talking, and we're getting back to Liberty Christian. You know, they're a 1A school, and obviously you guys are a 4A school.
Yes.
For you playing a 1A school, I mean, was there ever any? I mean, as a 4A coach, how do you view that when you play somebody like a 1A school? Because there's a lot of coaches up here who they see a 1A school that's good and they run away. You guys saw a 1A school that's good and you took them on.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think a lot of that is our friendship. You know, Norm and I, you know, are great friends. But you know, on the flip side, Liberty Christian is a state contender for 1A. So
Right.
they're going to be, you know, they're going to be tough. And like Coach Hake said, you know, a lot of these kids that should be either at Anderson or at Highland, they're going to these APAs and Liberty Christians.
Right.
So they're going to be good. They have talent. They have 4A talent on those rosters.
Right. Because I know up here, we see some 1A competition, and you look at the 1A school, their record is 20-something and 2, and you look at who they play, they really haven't played anybody, but yet,
correct.
You know, and those schools have a tough time getting a 3A and a 4A to be willing to take the chance to play them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, you should have beat him like that. But at the end of the day, when I was at Anderson, we played a school called Bluffton, and they were a 1A school. And their head coach was a guy named Wayne Barker. And Wayne Barker played for me at Wapahani. And Wayne said, hey, Heck, he said, I want to bring my guys down to the Wigwam, man. They want to play in the Wigwam. They never played there. I said, Wayne, how good are you? Because I ain't getting beat by 1A. I don't care who it is, man. And Wayne says, oh, man, Heck, we ain't very good, blah, blah, blah. And I said, all right, we'll play you, Wayne. Wayne comes in. When they played us, they were 16-0. They shot 78% in the second half and beat us by 3. And I'm in my office, and I don't know if you were on the staff at that time, but I'm in my office. The whole town of Bluffton is on the Wigwam floor, on our floor.
They're getting pictures.
Celebrating. And I said, man, I ain't never played at 1A school again. I don't care if it's my buddy or not.
Yeah, and that's a challenge though. But you have to, like, with practice, you know, I prepared them. Like, we had a whole, you know, we use Fast Scout, but we also, you know, have board talk and all that other stuff. So, you know, that we had a full board. We gave them the full respect as if we were about to play Ben Davis or a Greenfield Central or anything like that. So you have to prepare every game like that.
Well, and down in your area, obviously you got what? Cecina's private school, Ritter University over in the Carmel area. Those are schools that university's still 1A, aren't they? But
no, I think they're 2A. They may be 2A now.
Well, and they're 2A because they've won so many games, probably success factor. But
they're good though.
The point is, you wouldn't hesitate on putting them on your schedule simply because they're good. They've got some quality.
Yes, sir.
And the point is, we had to do with the girls semi-state up here. We had Michigan City Marquette, and we had Lafayette Central Catholic. And Michigan City Marquette, they played 17 3A and 4A teams this year getting ready for the tournament.
Yeah.
And LCC is the same thing. If you look at their schedule, it was all 3A and 4A teams. So the point, hey, the sectionals at your place, the point is.
Okay, hold on a second. The point is, who cares about the girls? Stop.
I was just bringing a point.
Phil, don't say anything. You can't say anything. You got to be politically right, Phil.
There you go.
Hey, the sectionals at your place.
Yeah, they got Southport though. They got Southport Friday night,
and it's a home game, right?
Yeah, we got Southport.
Southport beat you.
Yeah, man, we're going through our little identity crises during that time during the county tournament, and you know, if you watch that game, you know, we had a 3-point lead with under a minute left and lose that game by 4. So that should tell you something right there, like, wow, what happened? But, you know, of course, we're looking our chops to get that game back. Now that we beat DD for the King of the County, so now we have the King of the County chess. So that game will be on Thursday is up for the chess for us to keep it for the remainder of the year, for the remainder of the summer and all that good stuff. So that would be a huge accomplishment if we can do that. We plan on doing that.
Yeah, and so from the standpoint of where you are with your team, I mean, your team is playing well now. You're on, and all coaches say, you know, the middle of the season is tough. Beginning of the season's tough, but we want to be on a roll at the end of the season, and we want to peak right at the end of the season.
Yeah.
That's what you're doing. So with the Southport game being kind of a revenge game for you, I mean, you don't have to worry about your players coming in and looking forward to playing Lawrence North. Your guys are going to come in and compete their butts off in this game.
Yeah, it's personal with them. The seniors, of course, that's senior night. They want to leave on top. It was a big accomplishment for us to start off on how we started off our season and to end up with a winning record. That meant a lot to the seniors as well. So they want to leave on a positive note to say that they did something, that they accomplished something. So it was great that we get to share the mid-conference championship as well. So that's a huge accomplishment from how we started.
Coach, for people that don't know, the Marion County Tournament's one of the biggest tournaments in the state. Kind of describe for the people who've never been there what that's like, because down in Indianapolis, that's a big deal.
Yeah, that is a big deal. I mean, you have is it 16 to 18 teams in it?
All different sizes,
16.
correct?
All from 1A to 4A. The whole mid conference is in it, along with Heritage Christian, your Buffs, Roncalli, Perry Meridian, Franklin Central. You got a little bit of everything that's in there, with a lot of Indiana All-Stars playing on all these teams. So guys got to show up. I commend North Central for making that run to win the whole county tournament, but their road pathway, how the drawing is, was totally different from the other side. The other side was very top heavy. The other side wasn't so much, but they took full advantage of that, not top heavy journey, and then ended up beating BD, and then turned around the next week and beat BD again. So they solidified that it was real.
And it's got to be a great tournament because it really truly is a throwback to the old state tournament where everybody was in regardless of size, and that's got to make it a little bit more special for the kids.
Yes, big time. And I think it's a big pride thing with the king of the county chess, because after you win the county, you hold on to the chess until you're beat by somebody in the county. So It just so happened to come around to LN beating North Central. Then LN got beat by BD, and then the following day we beat BD.
So they held the trophy for 24 hours.
24 hours, and then we were able to take it in the night.
Gotta love those traveling trophies.
Yeah. I mean, but it's what I love about the traveling trophy. If you look in the chest, it has all pictures from the teams that have previously had it, from 1940s to 1950s to everybody. So everybody puts their. So when you achieve it, you put your team picture name in it, or you write your story.
Really cool.
And all that stuff. So the fact that we get to put our picture in it, we feel blessed about it.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
That's really cool. Now, does the chess play in the sectional too, or is that just regular season?
No, it doesn't. It actually is not. So after our season game, if we are able to win, then we get to keep it for the whole summer. And it's not up to grab until the county tournament. That's when we have to return it back.
So you could lose it this Friday night. You could lose it Thursday to Southport.
Yes, we can.
Possibly.
Yes, we can. So that's why on Thursday it's not they're just laying low because it's a game before a sectional. Like, no, we're going full force. We want to win.
Yeah, that's really cool. So, okay, let's take a step on now. The sectionals at Lawrence Central. Okay, sectional number 10. Now, I mean, I've said this for 100 years. That they need to maybe seed the top 4 teams instead of playing it right off the jump. I mean, there it is right on our screen. I mean, Lawrence Central at 11-9, game number 1 against Lawrence North, and your place will be packed for that game. But then, games after that. I mean, talk about Lawrence North. You lost to them early. I mean, they beat you bad early. But again, it's one of those early games. Talk about them now.
The Lawrence North game, when we played them that first week, we had a rocky week. That Monday we lost 3 starters, and then we had to play our city rival Lawrence North, or sister school, brother school, however you want to word it. We had to play them the following, 2 days. So we had 1 day to prepare, 1 day to recognize what we have to do, something new, scheme and whatnot, and bring people up to speed on what we're doing. And then we play them. And then 2 days later, we play, I believe, Zionsville. So it was just like, man, we have a whole new team in 1 week. So we got put in that situation with LN, but as we got on, we were able to get on a little streak, and we beat Addicts, then we beat, Pike, and we beat Princeton. So so we had a good run after we learned who we were. But now with LN, now it's gonna be a big thing on rebounding, man. They're so big and they're so physical. They rebound the ball. Offensive rebounding is their offense. They score 60% of their baskets off of offensive rebounds and their transition. They have real good guards. Of course, Xavier Robinson going to Butler. He's prolific scorer. He's somebody that you always got to keep your eye on. However, us playing against a Mullins, us playing against a Damian King, us playing against a Riviera, us playing against all these guys throughout our season. We've already seen them again this year, earlier this year. We feel confident that we can build up schemes and get our guys up to guard them. And it's going to be a big thing in that rebounding match, man, because they're big.
Will that be a full house at Lawrence Central on Tuesday night?
I believe so, man. It's the only game in the sectional that day. Of course, city rivals. I mean, every time we play them, it's 3,000 fans plus. So we're looking. It's probably going to be a sold out place, or it's going to be a very big crowd, and it's going to be great atmosphere. I mean, this is playoff basketball. This is what you want, But you just for the two township schools to go against each other the first game, this is like
Yeah.
I know, man. I want to see that game Saturday night.
Yeah.
I want to see Lawrence North against Lawrence Central. I want to see you slug it out and get through the tournament, and then I want to see that game Saturday night. And there's been so many other draws like that. We're going to have Shane Sumter on after you.
Yeah,
and,
man.
I mean Westfield number 3 and Fisher's number 1.
Yeah, man.
That's got to set up for Saturday night, right?
I jokingly say this to my AD all the time, Mosey Barnes. I'm like, man, hey, whoever you need to call, whoever you need to, man, just tell them, like, let's make it a good draw. Let's make it fair. Let's, like, I'm pretty sure somebody knows it already. I told them this weeks in advance, and we laugh about it all the time. And it's just like, man, there's no way that this is a random draw. Like, I would feel better. Yeah, I would feel better if they honestly had, just like the lottery, like, the balls come out, every team has a number, and then they pulled out, one by one live, so that we can all see, like,
I agree. I said for years. I said for years it was fixed. Come on, man.
We can, should we call the IHSAA? We can stream it on the channel.
All night, I guess.
Don't put
Phil,
me in
I
any hot water.
think they do that. They do that live for the semi-state 2 weeks later.
Yeah, but they should just do that for the sectional.
They do that. It might take an extra hour, but I think it would give everybody peace of mind to thinking that we're not sitting here having this conversation anymore.
Yes, well, I mean, you got to think about it. For like a team like us, we're 4A, we're sectional 10. So the show started at 6 o'clock. It ended at 8 o'clock. Yeah. We didn't get called sectional 10 until 7:45. So that means we're here, with our guys. We're having a social, but it's like the whole time, and we're just reading these things off. Where it's like, man, I wish that we could have a peace of mind about, like, okay, they really drew this out.
Well, and see, back in the old days when we were growing up, we went to school there at Anderson, for example. The Anderson sectional was the very first one drawn, and they did it on Tuesday morning, 8 o'clock. So we knew at 8:05, we knew what our draw was. And they just put it over the PA system at school.
Wow. Yeah, that's different.
We just had it on the PA system at school, and then we went about our business.
All right, so you started cutting your teeth at Christmas Addicts. You had a great run there. You had great teams, great players. You started from square one. and you brought guys in. You played fast. I mean, I was there. I saw you get started at Crispus Attucks.
Yeah.
And now now you're at just, I mean, one of the elite high schools in the city at Lawrence North. Taking over from a Hall of Famer, Al Gooden. I mean, so how have you changed as a head coach from those early years at Crispus Attucks to where you are now?
Preparation is a big thing. I mean, I learned a lot from you and Joe Nataline and Shane working underneath, and Burkett working underneath you guys, and just now that the doors that opened for me since I got started and was at Crispus Attucks, with the doors opening to go to Scotland and to see different how coaches do different things on preparing their kids. I think that has changed dramatically. I'm more open to play different defensive styles rather than run and jump. We've played some zone. Some zone has helped us. So I would think that the preparation has been a big thing. I had some guys that helped me out this year. Jam McLeod, he's real good. Jermaine Owens, he's real good. And Damon Turner, he used to be the coach at Arsenal Tech for a couple years. He's now on staff as well. So hear different ways how different people do different things as well, and mold it into one. It helps that I also get to coach on the EYBL circuit. So I see how guys that are playing with future pros, how they approach the game. I thought it was real interesting that team takeover coach, he talked to me about just the way that their presentation, how all guys got to wear the same shoes, how all guys wear things a certain way, and they do things like a certain way for them to get prepared, and all that stuff matters. So just try to take little things here and there and try to evolve, and it was great that I got to work underneath Coach Gooden. He taught me a lot. He made me see the game in a different perspective because, I'm fiery. I want to be all over the place. I want to, be animated, but a lot of stuff with him is very calm, very stern. But he definitely got the point across on his deliverance. So just learning little stuff and evolve myself.
Yeah,
I was going to ask him.
Go ahead.
I was going to ask a question, Coach, about how do you get the kids at the lower levels in your community excited about playing basketball for you? Do you have like a youth program? Or tell us about that.
We run camp. We have camps over the summer for the school, but we also now we have our middle schoolers are in Indiana ball, which is the league that Fishers, Hamilton, and Southeastern. I think they originated it. But now you have all the high schools now are playing their feeder schools in this league, 7th and 8th grade. So that's going on currently now. So
is that just in the Indianapolis area?
Yeah.
Or you have just teams come in from all over the state?
I think it's more so I'm thinking White. I'm thinking who we played last weekend. They played Whiteland. I mean Brownsburg. I probably would say more so Central Indiana. Yeah. Because I think they have a league like that in down South Indiana, but it was a long drive back and forth for Indianapolis schools to do it. So I think that's when they came up with their own.
Yeah, these are your own school teams, though, right? Like your middle school teams.
Yes,
okay,
yes. So these are the middle
AAU,
school teams.
It's middle school.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. This is the middle school team. So now it's like after my practice, I practice the middle school for a day or two. Throughout the week to get them ready, and we coach our high school staff. We coach them.
Yeah, I think that's really cool, man. I think that's cool that they're getting to know you, they're getting to see you, they're getting to understand what you want out of a player, and I think that's invaluable. Hey, do me a favor, man. Say hi to your wife and kids. Harlem doing good, man?
He's doing good, man. He plays a little bit of everything right now. He's playing for Edgewood. Mr. Russell is his coach.
Oh man!
Yeah. So isn't that crazy?
That is crazy. Hey, you coming to the Hall of Fame deal?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Oh man, I can't. Hey, I'll be in a tux, man. I can't wait to see you.
In the tux. Wow.
Yeah, bring your camera.
Yeah, I can't wait to see you, man. Hey, Phil, I mean, you've come a long way. You've fought through adversity, man, and you've just done a great job. We will certainly be watching On Tuesday night at 7 o'clock, Lawrence Central against Jimmy Etherington and the Lawrence North basketball team. Man, good luck, Phil.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate you.
Okay, thanks for taking a couple minutes. Say hi to your Say hi to your dad for me.
I will. I will.
All right.
Take
care, Phil. See you.
I see you, Phil. That's the great Phil Washington, man. He's had some adversity in his life, and he made a couple of mistakes, and he rebounded from those, and he's just done a nice job, again, coaching and doing the things that he loves to do. Why don't we take a break here, and then we got the great, and I don't mean good. I mean, some coaches we say there are good coaches, right?
Yeah.
We got the great Shane Sumter, man, ready to talk here after we come back from this break. So, Shane, hang on, man.
Phil's going to stick around and watch.
All right, man.
When the time comes to say goodbye, you want a place that offers more than just services. You want care, understanding, and support. Han Funeral Homes in Mishawaka has been helping families honor their loved ones with respect and compassion since 1976. Their team of caring professionals takes the time to understand your needs and offer personalized solutions that reflect the life and wishes of your loved one. From traditional funeral services to cremation options, Han Funeral Homes is here to guide you through this difficult time with grace. For more information, visit hanfuneralhomes.com or call 574-255-1474.
Finding private health insurance can be stressful. What if it didn't have to be? I'm Tony Letcher, licensed insurance agent. I prefer to personally meet with my clients so I can get a better understanding of your needs and budget. I can even review your current coverage. I don't want you to be my client today. I want you to be my client forever. Call Tony Letcher today to schedule your free consultation or visit tletcher.com.
Looking to get your driver's license? Frick's Driving School in Mishawaka makes it easy with the Indiana State Driving Exam in-house for just $65. No formal driver's education is required. If you're 16 years and 270 days old, which is like 9 months, and have held an Indiana learner's permit for at least 180 days, which is like 6 months, you're eligible. Frick's provides the vehicle. Just bring a ride to and from the office. The exam takes only about 20 minutes, and you can walk out with your official Indiana driver's license, which we call an operator's license. To schedule, call 574-256-0650 or visit fricksdrivered.com. Hey, we're back. One final word from the Harbor Group, Planned Wealth. Nearing retirement, which, again, I am not. I am still a spring chicken. They can help you retire with confidence and get your money right. So, if you need financial help as you are nearing the end of your work life, call the Harbor Group at 765-393-1074, and that'll get you key in touch with Jessica Rose, who's the VP over there, or you can visit their website, harborgroup.com. And also, a quick mention to the Black Sedan Band out of Birmingham, which is the music you're hearing right now. We have no conflicts of interest. They just came to us out of nowhere and said, "Hey, we got some tunes." Oh wait, no, we do have a conflict of interest, but they're still really good. So
He's a smart ass, isn't he?
go to blacksedanband.com or they're on YouTube and jam out. So we are now pleased to welcome on the head coach of the Westfield Fighting Braden Smiths. The Shamrocks, Shane Sumter.
The Fighting Shamrocks.
Shane, I have to apologize. He's a real smart ass.
That's all right.
I didn't raise him.
You didn't raise him that way?
He's the last 10 years have been a real struggle.
Hey, Sup, what's up, man?
What's going on? You
Not
hear me?
much, man. I hear you beautifully, man. You look great.
Hey,
You look
man,
great.
yeah.
Just another stellar season, man. You're stacking these seasons upon each other now, and you're becoming one of the best coaches in the state of Indiana, certainly around central Indiana. But 17-3, you play at Mount Vernon, Joey Bradburn's team on Thursday. Talk about Joey's team
Tomorrow night.
No, tomorrow night.
Tuesday
That's
night.
right.
Yeah. Tomorrow night.
Talk about Joey's team for a minute.
Well, they're really good. Obviously, all starts with Erdl, man. He's a really good player. So they're a very physical team. I think they're going to be I don't think they're one of the top 3 or 4 teams that we've played this year. So they're really good. We got to be at our best, and obviously very, very well coached. But Ertl's as good as it gets from the guard position. So he's really good. We'll have to keep him out of transition, have to do a great job on him. But, yeah, it'll be a tough challenge for us at Mount Vernon tomorrow night.
Yeah, that sets up to be a great game for you, getting ready to play the Fishers in the first game of the sectional at Carmel. So I'm going to ask you this question, and I already know the answer. Why doesn't the IHSAA seed these sectionals anymore, right?
I've asked the same question. Last year we had number 1, number 2, and number 3 in the state of Indiana in the same sectional, us, Fishers, and Noblesville. And, we talk about the great tradition here in Indiana and Indiana basketball, and it's certainly true, but I don't know why they don't see the sectionals. It's getting time to do it. I guess I don't have a great answer for why they haven't or how they would do it, but certainly in our sectional and in a lot of sectionals, I think it's time to take a look at seeding the sectionals. I really do. It's just it's a meat grinder to get out of our sectional. It's just really hard. And I don't have a great answer, but I do think it's time that they look at seeding the sectional.
Well, and even if they would seed maybe the first 4 teams, I mean, our guy that puts it together, Jeff Sagarin, he works on seeding for the NCAA. So his numbers and his way of coming up of power numbers as to who would be number 1 in this sectional, who would be number 2. I mean, he would be really accurate on that, and just to be able to use that, and I know why, because it's not tradition. It's not tradition anymore anyway, because it's class basketball, right?
No, I agree. No, I mean, there's definitely a way to do it, and it's been talked about. So it's definitely time to do it. Like I said, our sectional is just extremely hard. So you got Fishers number 1, and we're ranked number 3 right now. Last year you had 1, 2, and 3, and we had our sectional meeting this morning. And first thing Weiniger says to me, he goes, "I knew he was going to draw each other," and I go, "Yeah, I just had a feeling as well." So you like to think that would be the sectional championship at worst case scenario, or even down the road. But it's a shame that one team out of our sectional each year gets out. But that's just the way it is.
Yeah. So there's a lot of different ways to look at it, and I know Pat's been in this scenario too. Some coaches will say, "Well, they're number 1, they're the best. We got the most time to prepare for them. So let's get this, knock it out of the way right now, and not have after a Friday night, and now you're going to play them Saturday. Now you got 10 hours to prepare. Let's prepare our guts out now, and let's play them now."
Yeah, I mean, coaches were talking last night, and especially the way that Fishers is built. They have so much depth. They have so much firepower in the way they play. We have a long time to prepare for them versus, having to win on Friday and then coming back and having one Saturday morning to try to get ready to play for them. So the sectional goes through Fishers this year. They're definitely they've won 37 games, 38 games in a row for a reason, because they're very good. So everybody's trying to beat Fishers this year. So if you're going to beat them, why not play them first? We'll have 4 or 5 days to prepare for them. I'd like to think our game tomorrow night against Mount Vernon is going to help us get prepared for that. But that's definitely the bright side to way to look at it. And that's really the only way that we can look at it, is that we're going to have 4 or 5 days to prepare for a really good team that we just played 3 weeks ago, really tough at our place, sellout crowd. We actually had them down 15 at one point. But there's not a lot of room for error when you play Fishers, because they can just strike so fast. And that's kind of what happened. We had a couple turnovers, and next thing you know, just that quick, they can be back in the game. So, we'll get our guys ready to go, and we'll be prepared to play and see what happens.
Coach, I was going to ask you about your program. Obviously, you came there in 2016 and had to change some things around. What's the biggest difference in Westfield basketball from the time you inherited the job to today? What did you do culturally in the community to change their mindset about basketball?
Well, when I got the job, it's been 10 years now.
No way. It has not been 10 years.
Yes. Oh, it's crazy. And the time flies. Yeah, it has. This is my 10th.
Is that your kid that's on the team, or is that your cousin?
No, my son's a sophomore. Yeah.
No way.
Time go. He was a little guy running around the wigwam years ago. So,
oh man.
it's my 18th year at West, or yeah, 18th year. So I was a girls coach for 17th year at Westfield. Sorry. But to answer your question, we had to do a couple things. We obviously had to build a tradition at Westfield. We were a growing school corporation, but really just tried to build some excitement amongst the program and build a strong feeder program. Those were my two goals when I got the job. Is that, hey, we got to build some excitement. We got to build a strong youth program. We are a growing community. And then, year 4, we have a Braden Smith come along as a freshman, and that obviously changes things. You get one player like that, and it kind of changes your community. And we've got a lot of little kids running around still today that want to be the next Braden Smith in our community. But I think really the last few years we have surprised people. I don't even know if we were ranked to start the year. We graduated 4 seniors last year. One of them was an Indiana All-Star, Trey Buchanan, who's at Iowa. The other, Nick Book, is a USC Upstate. He's the one that transferred in last year. So we had 2 studs last year that graduated. But, our guys really care about each other. And really our guys in our program think they're supposed to win now. And I guess 8, 9, 10 years ago, that really wasn't the case. We'd go play Carmel or Fishers or Noblesville, and our guys didn't think they were supposed to win those games. And now, since we've won just year after year, now those guys think hey, we're supposed to win these games. And, we had Cam Hafner, who was a running mate of Braden Smith a few years ago, and he got his brother Drew Hafner now, who's, I think going to be a Division I kid. He's a junior for us now. But just really our guys play for each other. They don't care who gets the credit. And the culture has changed that way where our guys feel like they're supposed to win. And that's really the biggest difference.
Did you run into a lot of resistance early on in trying to get what you wanted to get done?
Of course, yeah. Anytime there's change, there's 2 or 3 year period of time that was kind of I'd say a rough period when you're trying to change and build something. And of course there was resistance, and we had to get through a 2 or 3 year really tough stretch of resistance and change. And this is the way that we're going to do things, and guys buying into our program. And then I would say year 4, 5, and 6 was the turning point of our program. When you have a Braden and you got a Cam Hafner, and we went to 3 or 4 straight sectional championships, but couldn't get over the hump until Braden's senior year. And we kept running into Carmel. I think Carmel beat us Braden's sophomore. They beat it junior year, and we were right there, but we didn't know how to get over the hump. And then finally, Braden's senior year, we were able to get over the hump. And then, from there, we've had a new group of guys, and I think we've been under the radar, especially this year. Like I said, I don't even think we were ranked at the beginning of the season, and nobody thought we were going to do what we were doing. And next thing you know, obviously we're 17-3, and had a lot of nice wins during the year. And but again, just a meat grinder of a conference and a sectional. A lot of really good coaches, a lot of really good programs. I would say year 4, 5, and 6, we really turned a corner in our program.
So walk me through this, man. And I don't know what year it was, but you're a senior guard playing for Frankton. Okay, well, what year would that have been?
94.
He's
1994.
He's hitting the Wayback Machine.
You're playing for Calvin Bailey at Frankton High School, and wow, I'm the head coach of the Indians, and you guys. We're playing in the sectional championship game, correct? And you guys,
semifinal, yeah.
Okay, semifinal, and you guys are playing us really, really, really tough, man. The kids from Frankton always played hard, and a big point in the game. You got the ball, you're bringing it up the court. Calvin Bailey's talking to you. You're listening to him. We're not pressuring. And once you get to the 10-second line, the ref blows a 10-second call on you, and you don't get it over the half court. And I know for years, I know what you're going to say. Heck, it wasn't even close to 10. It was maybe 8.
Yeah. And if you count fast.
We looked at it 100 times, remember? We counted it out on the film, and it turned out to be a really huge part in the game.
Yeah, well, it 94, and it was actually Rex Bacher that I played for.
Okay.
Calvin Bailey chain though. I believe heck, our game was a double overtime game.
Yes.
that year. We were really good. Obviously, Brett Bropson, the head coach at Frankton, was on the team that year. Obviously Frankton was really good, along with Alexander. A lot of those county teams were good. But I was walking. I actually thought somebody had thrown something on the floor or something.
I haven't heard this one yet. Go ahead, tell me this one.
Yeah.
I haven't heard this one.
Yeah, I mean, as I'm walking, we get a rebound. I'm looking over, and I think it was the first overtime, and the official and I'm crossing the Indian. I can picture it like it happened. I know you love the story, but I think a lot of the people in the crowd were actually confused in what was going on, and but yeah, we watched it a few times when I was coaching with you, and if you count fast, you can get to 8. If you count fast.
Oh man, those days were so cool. And then you go and you play at Anderson University.
Yeah,
and
sure did.
have a nice career at Anderson University. And then I still remember you coming in for the interview and talking about bringing you on the staff and all that kind of stuff. And I thought, as an assistant coach, a young assistant coach, that you were awesome. I mean, and I knew that at some point in your career, you were going to be a great head coach.
Well, I appreciate that. And, I tell everybody my days at the Wigwam, really loved coaching with you, and just still memories that I have right now of coaching at the Wigwam and coaching with you there. Man, it seems like I was there, I think, with you for 6 years. And then I took the girls' job there for 1 year before I came to Westfield. And here I am, 17, 18 years later. But, just a joy. I mean, I grew up in the Madison County area, went to Frankton, played in the Anderson sectional. So for me to be able to coach at Anderson, coach the Anderson Indians there with you, that was like a dream come true. I mean, to get my first teaching job and to be able to call that place home for 7 years. And we walked in there, and walking in the office there every day, it seemed like at noon or 1 when we got done teaching, and getting ready for practice, man. I loved it, loved every moment of it, and every minute of it. But had a lot of good teams, and remember playing in the Hall of Fame. Obviously, I've coached in the Hall of Fame a few years ago with Braden, but I tell everybody, man, I remember coaching here at Anderson when we won it that year. I can't remember, maybe 03 when we beat, I think it was Bloomington South that year. I still remember those days and hanging out at the Steve Alford Inn in between games. Same thing we did here a while back, a few years ago, but just really cherished those days coaching at the Wigwam with you.
One of the things that I always tell other coaches about is when you were young. Quinn Brooks was playing, and you came to me and said, "Hey, I want to put this blocker offense in, and I want to do it at 6 a.m. in the morning."
Yeah.
And heck, can I bring these guys in at 6 a.m. in the morning?
Yeah.
And I said, absolutely. And for an assistant coach to say, yeah, I'm going to bring these guys in 2 days a week at 6 a.m. and run this and do this.
Yeah.
I thought that was outstanding. And for you just to take the initiative to do that and put that offense in, and I thought our guys learned to run that, and we were good with it.
Yeah.
So
I remember being
putting in the Virginia offense.
What's that?
Was that the Virginia offense that they?
It was all the Virginia, the blocker mover stuff back then, the Dick Bennett stuff, and we put a lot of that stuff in. We just a lot of skill development, but Antoine Boyd, Quinn Brooks, Dejavon Sawyer Davis back there those days. Those guys were good players, but
the basics.
they wanted to be coached. We got those guys in at the Wigwam early in the morning. I can remember picking them up and taking them, and just really fun times. And I always tell my younger assistants, you want to be a head coach, you got to work for that guy as you would want your assistants to work for you. And you got to start somewhere. And I just loved basketball. I wanted to coach, and I wanted to take it all in and whatever I could do to contribute. And again, what a joy it was to coach with a Hall of Famer here, sitting there, and but just an awesome deal for me.
Hey, so February 6th, you play Fishers, and you lose 67-64.
Yeah.
When you look back at that game and you start thinking about game planning now, what's one or two things that you got to do different in order to have a chance to beat them?
Well, we certainly got to take care of the basketball. We had a lot of turnovers there in that stretch where Fishers got back into it. The key with Fishers is you really got to keep them out of transition. They're very good. Jason Gardner Jr. and D'Angelo Hall, when those guys are able, and Cooper Zachary and Kirby and on and on and on, when they're able to create off their defense and score in transition, they're so difficult. And we shot the ball really well. It was at our place, and You talk about tradition. We've been a very good basketball team in our place. And that's the first game we've lost in 2.5 years when Fishers beat us this year.
Wow.
So when we've played at Westfield, we sell it out, we pack it out, and we've become a very, very good basketball team at Westfield. And we had a 15-point lead, but just wasn't able to hang on because we had some turnovers and offensive rebounds. Those guys are hard to keep off the glass. So if we've got to do something, we've got to keep it more of a half-court game and keep them out of transition. But that's easier said than done. But we just got to value the basketball and take care of the basketball, and that's going to be a huge key. And the teams that have been able to come close to Fishers, us, Warsaw, and Zionsville played them fairly tough. They've been those lower score games. Ours was a little bit higher, this in the high 60s than I would have actually thought. I anticipate if we really need to keep that game in the 50s, the high 50s to try to win that game. And again, that's easier said than done, just keeping them to play in the half court.
Coach, you were talking earlier about wanting to put in the Virginia offense. You talked a lot about skill work. As a staff, are you guys involved in every aspect of your program from the lower levels on up?
Yeah, we really are. Like I said, when I got the job, we really needed to build a strong foundation in the youth program. And, our high school staff's extremely involved all the way really down to third grade and below in our travel programs. And so, yeah, just extremely involved, get those kids excited. And really, it's not only just building skill, but it's building a relationship with kids and making them want to wear a varsity jersey at Westfield. And just building a relationship with them and their parents. And so, yeah, we're extremely involved in our youth kids.
And are the kids buying into what you guys are doing? I mean, at the third grade, fourth grade level?
Yeah, absolutely. And, of course, they got to buy into me, and that's why I want to build a relationship with those kids when they're young and get them to our high school games and seeing those kids and want to be the next Braden Smith and Cam Hafner and Trey Buchanan, Nick Book, Alex Romack, all those kids that have come before us. And they come in there and they see the sellout crowds at our gym and see all the involvement and see the excitement that we've built. And that's really what it's about.
Hey, let me ask you a quick question. Let's look into the crystal ball. Let's look past into the months of maybe April and May. With this new rule that the state's now put in front of everybody on transfers, what do you see that's going to be good for you, and what do you see that might be a problem for you and your program moving forward with this one free transfer rule that they've instituted? His picture froze.
It's a great shot, though.
Enjoying his H2O. It's high quality.
Have to get him to hit refresh here real quick.
Yeah, we'll get him
Hopefully
back.
his internet will kick on.
It's like one of those old TV shows in the 70s where they would freeze the frame as they'd go to commercial.
Well, I don't know, Scott, can you unfreeze him somehow, or is that something he'll have to do?
No, that's a internet thing on
Okay.
his end. Here, I was talking about when you guys were talking about seeding the sectionals. I went back in he dropped off. Hopefully he'll come back on.
Yeah,
I was looking into the Wayback Machine. Oh, there he is.
he's trying.
Yeah. Here, I'll get to it. I was looking back in the Wayback Machine, and the Fishers or the HSE teams that had Zach Irvin and Gary Harris. You know how many sectionals? They won?
Zero?
One.
Wow.
That was a surprise.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You guys there?
Yep, we got you. You froze up on us.
Yeah, I had to go to my iPhone. For some reason, my computer shut off.
Oh, it times you out, I guess. Hey, the
I
question.
don't know.
I
Can
know.
you
Hey,
guys hear me okay?
Yep,
Yes.
you're
Yeah,
good.
we're good.
Sorry about that.
That's okay. Hey, the question I had real quick, and you may not even have an answer, with this new rule that they've got with transfers that the state's thrown at everybody, months of April, May, and June. How's that going to affect you, good or bad? Can I'm sure you've thought about it some. Are you going to have to recruit your own kids to stay, and especially at the lower levels? What are you going to do anything different to get kids to want to stay at Westfield?
Well, that's a great question. And to be honest with you, I guess I haven't put a lot of thought into it, but that's one thing that I mentioned about a week ago is that, it's almost like coaches are going to have to recruit their own kids to stay. Again, one I haven't put a tremendous amount of thought into. Obviously, that's pretty new, the rule. It's going to be interesting to see how this rule shakes out and what all goes on with this. But, can't say that I love the rule. It is what it is, but I think there's definitely an element where coaches are really going to have to, make sure you're, again, like I was talking earlier before we got cut off, is developing a relationship with your own kids and making sure your kids want to be in your own program. I definitely think there's an element that's going to come into play of that.
Yeah, I know. And I know. See, you're so busy with your season, you haven't had a chance to think about this. But that's, I really think, with us old timers sitting here, I'm thinking summer basketball games, those games that you play in June, that's going to be kind of like these college football with their spring game. I mean, it's open season where other coaches are going to have a chance to see some of these kids at other schools. That Charlie Hughes tournament that they have down in the Carmel area, and some of it's there at your gyms too.
Yeah.
I think that's going to be that's going to be a recruiting nightmare for some people, because there's going to be coaches everywhere saying, "Hey, who's this sophomore? Maybe we need to go call his parents. Who are his parents?"
Yeah, but there's still going to be. I mean, there's no. I mean, the recruiting aspect of it. I mean, you can't go out and flat out recruit and talk to kids because if they find that out, I mean, they could still rule ineligible on that.
Well, yeah. So what I'm hearing is the IHSA, the undue influence is still there. That rule, the undue influence and pass link rule is still there. But I'm going to tell you guys where it's really going to come into play here is the best recruiters are going to be the kids. Exactly. Because you think about this with AAU and all that, hey, this kid's going to say, hey, you come to my school, blah, blah, blah. That's really where I think you're going to see some of this happening. Because, again, the undue influence and the pass link and all that with coaches, those rules are still there. They should be there, and they should be enforced even stronger, in my opinion. But what I think is going to happen is the summer stuff with the AAU and the kids trying to say, hey, come to my school. And I think that's what you're going to see.
Yeah, right. That's a whole nother topic for another day. I didn't want to get you off of your scouting reports and getting yourself ready for your ball game. Like you said, you've got a ball game tomorrow night you got to deal with.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, we got a tough one at Mount Vernon, and very good team. And but I like this game. It's a game that actually got postponed with the snow earlier this year, but we've decided to keep it on this date from moving forward, which is really great because this is a game that I like that gets us prepared for our sectional. So I'm really glad that we've got this game here tomorrow and moving forward.
Hey, listen, man, we want to wish you congratulations in that tough sectional. We'll be rooting for you. I think it's and in this case right now, in order for you to have 3 or 4 days of preparation and going over all the things you need to go over, I think it's great that you're playing this game from your standpoint. I would love to see that game played Saturday night. But, I mean, obviously, you can play with them. Obviously, you can beat them. So go get that done. The only thing I want to tell you is with all those games you win at home, you need to get a schedule like the Wigwam, play 15 home games, man. Come on.
I say that all the time. And, Braden Smith senior year, we had 14 home games. And,
there you go.
And you know what? People said, how do you get these 1-year deals? And I said, I learned from Coach Heck. I said, what you did at the Wigwam.
Couple $100, couple hundred tickets. Yeah, there you go, man.
Well, you just give them tickets. Hey, you guys come here 2 years in a row, and I'll take care of all the tickets year 2. I mean,
exactly.
I told you, I learned from the best.
You're the best, and it was 8.5 seconds. We got a big break on that. Hey, you're the best, man. Good luck to you, Shane. Thanks for taking the call.
Hey, appreciate you having me on. And, hey, congratulations to you. I know we haven't spoke, but well-deserved on the Hall of Fame. And very, very, very well-deserved. And congratulations to you.
All right. Thanks, man.
Take care.
Adios.
See you. All right.
That is the great Shane Sumter, man. He's as you guys listened to him, and I was with him, and he was cerebral. He was bringing kids in on his own. Right. That's when you know that he's going to be a good coach.
Yeah. Yeah, you've got assistant coaches that want to be head coaches in the future.
Yeah, and I was taking a look at that just a day or two ago, when I was thinking about my assistant coaches that I've had throughout my career. 27 of them have gone on to be head coaches.
That's impressive.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah, that's impressive.
Well, and so what that tells me is that I had great assistant coaches.
Right.
Because for them to be able to go and get their own gig and run their own programs.
You had a heck of an HR department, didn't you?
Yeah, no, we just it was phenomenal. We are going to meet with or have one of my great friends in basketball on, a guy named Glenn Heffernan, who was from Chicago, and I'm wondering if we have Glenn on.
Yeah, he's here.
I'm on.
Glenn, what's up, man?
Everything's good. How are you today?
Yeah, I'm really good, man. Glenn, or as we called him all the time, Red. We were assistant coaches at Ball State University under the great, tutelage of Dick Hunsaker and sweet Lenny Drake, and it was good times at Ball State, and Red has gone on and has coached in a lot of different places. D1 head assistant coaches, and even a head coach at a junior college, right?
Yeah, I've been all over. Worked with Tim Floyd at UTEP, Coach Hunsaker at Ball State, Loyola Chicago, UIC, DePaul with Jerry Wainwright. We had Wilson Chandler.
Oh,
so I've been a little bit all over the place.
Yeah. So and now you're the head assistant, the lead assistant coach at St. Francis of Illinois, and people do not understand. I swear they do not understand. There's a conference called the CCAC conference, and I broadcast those games. I work for IUSB. I work for Holy Cross. The amount of good players in that league, and Red, you can attest to how good those players are.
Yeah, 2 years ago, one of the best players in our league left. He left. He got an NLI deal at Morehead State, which is a D1 school. He left Olivet Nazarene. He was 6'8", went to Morehead State. Morehead State went to the conference championship game. He was their MVP. They went on to the NCAA tournament, and he was their leading scorer and leading rebounder on their team. His name was Alex Gross. And there's probably 5 to 6 players every year in our league that are good enough to go Division I. And if you look at Valpo's roster right now, they have a young man named Tyler Schmidt, who's from Valparaiso, Indiana.
Yes, he is.
From Valparaiso, Indiana, played 3 years at Olivet Nazarene, transferred to Valpo, and he's probably averaging 10, 12 points a game this year. He had 10 points, I think, last night, and they beat SIU Carbondale. He had 10, 7, and 4. And it's funny that I'm checking his stats, but I'm rooting for him every time somebody leaves. There are so many good players in NAIA basketball. People don't realize it. If you take the top 4 or 5 teams in our league, I would say each team has 1 or 2 young men good enough to play Division I.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree 200% with you. I did. I mean, first of all, your team, 22-5, 16-4 in the league. You got an ex-D1 coach as your head coach, Ryan Marks, who I know, who's awesome. And he's been at St. Francis for 10 years, 11 years.
Been at St. Francis 12 years now, yes.
And just likes to coach in that league, right?
Yeah, he likes it. I'll give you a little bit about his background. He was an assistant at Northern Illinois, went to Southern Vermont as a head coach, and he won there. Went to St. Edwards and Austin, Texas, and he won there. He went to Texas Pan American, where nobody wins, and he won there. In fact, the year they let him go, he was I believe 16-10, and they let him go. And he's had probably the best record there in the last 30, 40 years, and they let him go. Athletic director changed. The athletic director wanted to bring in one of his own guys, and now he's at St. Francis. I've been with him 5 years, and we're in a very competitive league. It's a lot of fun, and right now we've got it rolling.
Yeah, you do. And I saw Holy Cross play Governor State on Saturday, and I saw a kid from Governor State that when we were coaching at Ball State, we would have taken Vincent Mays in a New York Minute to play in the Mid-American Conference. And he's playing in the CCA. He's 6'7", 6'8". He's big. He blocks shots everywhere, and he's well coached. And yet he's in the CCAC. So why don't schools from that Horizon League, why don't they recruit these kind of kids?
You know, it's interesting. Heck, I've been around basketball as division at the Division I level, and I ran recruiting services, and I coached in junior college. You know, sometimes it amazes me when really, really good players just go through the cracks. You know, how does Steph Curry end up at a Davidson? It might not happen. It might not happen these days, but we have a young man on our team now named Aitor, 6'8". He's from Spain. Ryan Marks did a great job. Somebody called him. He requested film. He probably watched 10 or 15 different films. Well, Aitor has a year left. He's technically a junior for us. He has 5 Division I offers right now, and he also has offers to leave at the end of the year and go back to Spain to play professionally.
Wow.
And he still has a year left. So we're probably going to lose him. He's one of the top players in our league. But good players go through the cracks. It's interesting in Division I. If let's just say you pick a city, Indianapolis. All the Division I schools are recruiting the same 10 guys. But nobody wants to take a chance on somebody that might be at a smaller school in a weaker conference. And how does a Mitch McGarry leave Northwest Indiana, go through the cracks, end up at Brewster Prep School, and a year later he's starting at Michigan? And a lot of people didn't even know him in high school, and it happens all the time.
Yeah, so Anna Batarte is a great player. When I did the game and saw him, he's a straight up shooter. He's from Spain, so he's got every Euro step in America.
Yeah,
and he's just really, really good. And then you got 2 6'10" guys on your roster. I mean, a kid from Germany, a kid named Merrick Small from out in Arizona, Cochise, where I'm sure you had some connections in bringing him in. But,
yeah.
I mean, a NAIA school with 2 6'10" guys on the roster.
Yeah, we have 2 6'10s and a 6'8", and once again, you have to beat the bushes. And if you're when we were at Ball State together, we could make 4 or 5 calls and find one really good player. But now we're at an NAIA school. We need to make 25 or 30 calls and then watch tape and then get transcripts to find one good player. So you have to beat the bushes. You have to do your homework. You have to watch film. Not only do you have to watch your player on film, you also have to watch who are they playing on film. Who is your player playing against on film? Because, a guy might be scoring 30 points a game, but if they're playing bad competition, it's not going to translate to when you get them. So you just have to do your homework, put in extra time and watch extra film and make extra calls and do all the little things to get good players at our level.
Coach, I was going to ask you, I was looking at your bio here and saw that you spent about 3 years at La Lumiere over in LaPorte. How special was it? How special was it to coach at La Lumiere?
Oh, it was awesome. We had really good teams at La Lumiere. We had Hunter Mascara Perea that went on to IU. We had Raphael Davis and Jay Simpson that went on and played at Purdue for Matt Painter. Hunter went on to Indiana, played for Tom Crean. It was really fun to play there. We had a hard time getting games because a lot of the regular high schools didn't want to play us. We had dorms, right. So we did have an advantage, but also it was fun. We got to play Finlay Prep. They were 32-1. We were the one team that beat them. We got to play Oak Hill. We traveled, got to play in Washington, D.C. 2 years. In 2 years, we went to the ESPN Rise. It was the old Dick's tournament, and then they changed the name to ESPN Rise. We got to play on TV, so it was fun.
Well, yeah, I think he froze on us. Maybe I'll know. No, I was about ready to say that playing in that Quasit hut that you played at La Lumiere had to have been great too. That's a great place to it's sunk in right there at all the concrete bleachers around the floor.
Yeah, we for sure had a great home court advantage. I don't think we lost the home game in 2 years.
Yeah. So when you're talking recruiting, and I know that's your business, that's what you're so good at. I remember Dick Hunsaker sending me to Chicago to watch Antoine Gillespie. And Dick said, I really like this kid. He's going to be a prop 48. Let's get him. So I go to watch him, and I didn't like him at all. I didn't think he played hard. I thought he kind of half-stepped it. And I come home, and I said, Dick, I didn't like him at all. And Dick says, heck.
Yeah.
Go watch him again, man.
I hear that.
I like him. I go watch him again and again. Half-stepping it, not running the court, not playing. I said, Dick, if it's me, I'm not going to take him. I mean, if you want him, take him. And so he listened to me. So Antoine Gillespie then went to UTEP, and was one of UTEP's all-time leading scorers, right?
Yeah, he's like third in the history in UTEP in scoring, and he only played 3 years.
Yeah, so that tells you.
Heck turned him down.
Yeah, that tells you how hard this business is, right?
Yeah, it does. But in fairness to you, one of the games you went to go see him, it was an all-star game, and kids are not taking charges, diving on the floor in all-star games. They're all trying to be cool. I remember the game. Amino Timberlake was in the same all-star game.
Yes.
And Tom Kleinschmidt that went to DePaul. So Timberlake went to Kentucky. Everybody wanted him. He went to Kentucky, lasted 2 years, transferred to St. Louis and maybe SIU, and he transferred out, and he was never a great player. But Antoine Gillespie was one of them guys we talked about. He went through the cracks.
Yep.
And he ended up being a really good player, had a great mid-range game, and he's like third in scoring in the history of UTEP basketball.
Yeah, no, you're exactly right.
Well, Coach, what I was going to ask you, I mean, I'm looking at your roster. I'm counting at least 6 kids that are, I'll say, not from the United States. What's your secret? Do you find them? You're not finding them over in their native country. They're all of these, I think, are someplace here in the United States, at a JUCO or a prep school. Is that pretty close to being the truth?
It is. Aitor came straight over from Spain, so our coach must have watched 20 to 30 videos on him and talked with different people, etc. But one guy's from Olney. We have a 6'9", 6'10" German from Olney Junior College. The head coach at Olney used to be my assistant coach in California. So I had a connection there.
Okay.
Merrick Small played at Cochise for Jerry Carrillo. We're both, our head coach and myself, both knew Jerry. So you just have to do your homework. And one of the things about recruiting, it's beating the bushes. Don't leave any stone unturned. But it's also about your relationships, who you know, making calls, who have you helped before, who has helped you before. And it's just like in anything else, it's all about relationships. You got to develop those relationships, and then it makes it much easier down the road.
One of the kids on your roster that I really like is Ramel Davis. He's 6'5". He's got like a Jimmy Butler game. He's wide. He comes from Bakersfield College. I mean, is that a connection?
Bakersfield Junior College. One of the things that I do is I take a lot of Chicago kids that need to go to junior colleges, and I help place them at different junior colleges all over Florida, California. I spent 3 years coaching junior college basketball in California. I knew their coach. Their coach called us. We liked him on film. Great young man. He's going to graduate with a degree in May. And he's had a really good career, originally from Florida. And he ended up going to California for junior college.
Yeah. So in the Midwest or maybe as you branched out to Arizona or out to California, when you mentioned the name Red, everybody in basketball circles knows who you are from your ability to have a great understanding of what players are and how good players are, to understanding how to recruit them, how to talk to the kids. Talk about, and I know that you're not going to say this, but I will. I mean, your legendary status in the game of basketball is unparalleled when people mention Red. They don't even got to mention your last name. They just got to say, "Hey, man, you know Red?" And everybody's going to say, "Hell yeah, I know Red." I mean, talk about how fun that is for you and how hard you work to get to that level.
Yeah, it's it's a lifetime. I'm proud. I'm a basketball junkie. I'm obsessed. I've been doing the same thing for 35 years, and I still love it. I don't care what level you're at, junior college, high school, NAI, Division III, Division I. I've coached at almost every level except pro basketball. One great advantage that I had over a lot of people is I ran a recruiting service too. From Russ Bradford started a recruiting service who worked with you for a while.
Oh, I love Rusty. Come on, man.
Yeah, and Russ was my high school coach. That's probably why I went into coaching, because I was a really good player until he got a hold of me, and then he turned me into a coach. So, but anyways, Russ started a recruiting service, and then he went back into college coaching, and he says, "Hey, would you like to do this?" And I said, "Yeah." And I kind of took it to another level. When Russ did it, he kind of targeted mainly Division I schools. And what I did, I branched out, and I sold my recruiting service to Division I, Division II, Division III, and NAI schools. And then what I start doing is I start calling junior colleges. And there were so many really good players in the Chicago area that had ability. They didn't have the grades to go to Division I and Division II schools. So I just start calling junior colleges everywhere: Texas, Kansas, Florida, California, Illinois, Indiana, you have Vincennes, now you have Ancilla. There weren't too many in Indiana. Missouri had a lot of junior colleges. And I start sending kids everywhere. But I didn't even know it at the time. I was building a rapport with all these coaches and building relationships with all these coaches. And now some of those junior college coaches that I knew had become Division I coaches or Division II coaches. And I built the relationships, I built the rapport, and then it kind of snowballed from there.
Yeah, I know Dick Hunsaker is eternally grateful to you for sending him Steve Payne out of the Chicago area. And Steve Payne went to Ball State and just was a part of just a lot of wins and just a quality kid. And I know every time I talk to Dick, it's always about Rusty. It's all about, hey, heck. You seen Red? You talked to Red? Heck. It's all, I mean, Steve Payne was I think maybe your first guy you sent to Ball State, and he ended up being an all-league guy, man.
Yeah, it's interesting. So when I was coaching, I was coaching Steve in AAU before we went to Ball State. And we had, think about this AAU team. We had Steve Payne. We had Antoine Gillespie that went to UTEP. Tom Kleinschmidt went to DePaul.
Yep.
Howard Nathan, who passed away, Howard Nathan went to DePaul, started as a freshman. They beat Cincinnati that year, who went to the Final Four with Nicky Van Exel and Terry Bostic and all those guys. Corey Blunt played for the Bulls. We had Sherelle Ford, went to UIC. Donnie Boyce went to Colorado. Just great players. Derek Patterson went to Georgetown. Jason Bay went to Creighton. Rick Hilscher went to Princeton. He was the first player to go to Princeton and play for Pete Carrill and be a 4-year starter. We had really good players. I'd like to think it was all coaching, but all I did was show up and make the substitutions. And
stop.
So I've got to ask Coach here. You were on the staff with Heck when you guys played Vegas, correct?
I got there right after.
Right after. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm a kid, man. I'm a kid, 28, and I'm sitting on the bench, and there's Grandmama Larry Johnson on the court. There's Stacy Augman on the court, and 15 feet to my left is Tark the Shark. And he's chewing on a freaking towel. And I'm going, what the hell's on that towel, man? Why is he chewing on this towel?
Yeah.
But no, and then you came after that and continued the pipeline of kids. And Dick did a great job of coaching him. Lenny Drake, God rest his soul. Sweet Lenny was the best, man.
Yeah. We I learned so much basketball from you. I knew players, but you were a great coach. You had already been a head coach by the time you got to Ball State for about 15 plus years, and your teams had always won. And you really, you were Dick's right-hand man when we were there. So I learned a lot of basketball in a short period of time, how to do things the right way. I could remember sitting in the office with you and you were showing me how to do film. And I remember one time you said, hey, we're going to do a film breakdown. And I said, breakdown, watch this. And I got on the floor and I was doing a break dance on the floor.
You had a break dance.
And you said, what the heck are you doing? I said, you wanted a breakdown? You said, no, I mean a film breakdown. You remember that?
Get the VCRs out.
Hey, I'm laughing my ass off. You know why? Because that is a freaking true story.
Oh, that is
exactly a true story.
That is a true story.
Yeah, and we had a great time. We won a lot of games, and then we kind of went our separate ways. But I wish I always think back to that. I wish I would have just said, Dick, take Antoine Gillespie. We would have won another 50 games with Antoine Gillespie, man.
Yeah, but you know what? You can't second guess yourself. We ended up signing Kenny Pratt.
Yes.
Who was the high school player of the year. He ended up leaving, going to junior college, and then he went to Iowa State and took Iowa State to the Sweet 16. It was the year Tim Floyd lost to UCLA when Tyus Edney hit a shot at the buzzer. But I mean, you can't second guess yourself. It's interesting. I always pride myself in being able to find players and leave no stone unturned. We got a tape in, and Len Drake says, hey, Red, I want you to watch this tape. And I watched the tape, and the guy was okay. He was an undersized post. And I said, I'm not sure he's big enough to make it in the MAC. I don't know how he'll good to be in the MAC. And for one reason or another, we didn't take him, and it turned out to be Gary Trent. So you cannot second guess yourself, because there's so many players out there. And, you could watch a player play just like when you watched Antoine Gillespie. Okay, he had 8 or 10 points in an all-star game. The thing that's hard to tell when you go watch a player play is how hard is he going to work when he gets there? Is he going to put extra time in when he gets to your school? How big is his heart? How hard is he going to play for you? Is he going to do all the little things? It's hard to see that when you go to a high school game.
Yeah. Hey, listen, we want to thank you, man, for taking some time and spending, a few minutes with us. Your insight into the recruiting game, the basketball game. Let me ask you this question, my last question. In the CCAC, will the NIL filter down the leagues like that at some point in time?
It possibly could. Now, this is what I'll tell you. There have been players in NAI that have received NIL deals. They're not as big as the Division I deals they would get. But I'll also say this. If there's a player in the NAI that's a sophomore or junior that's good enough to get an NIL deal, they're going to leave and be picked up by a Division I school.
That's exactly right.
Because what they do is they contact those players on Twitter. They have their players call them, contact them on Twitter and say, hey, listen, you're averaging 20 a game at the University of St. Francis. Are you interested in coming here? And, I actually don't blame them players for leaving.
No, exactly.
They grow up. As a coach, it was always my dream to be a head Division I coach. Mm-hmm. Right now, I'm coaching at an NAI school. So if we win, and a Division I school called me, how could I blame a player that dreamed of playing at a Division I
exactly.
school that's a sophomore or junior and he got that call? How could I blame him for leaving, going up and playing Division I? I don't
Correct.
blame him
Right.
one bit.
Right.
In fact,
Exactly.
we're the opposite. We're helping one of our players go be a Division I player. Itor's already graduated. Okay, Itor's one. Our player has already graduated. He's got 1 year left to play. Our head coach is encouraging him to go ahead out there, play Division I, go get your master's degree, get it done.
Yeah, I think it's great.
That's
You
a
guys
great
got
idea.
anything?
That sounds, I mean, I totally agree. I have a couple friends that are D2 coaches, and that's all they keep telling these guys, that you want to get paid? I mean, the guys said, yeah. I said, well, here's what you got to do. You know, because
That's
they're
right.
talking about, you know, poaching kids out of D2 to go play Division I. So I can very well see NAIA is almost like a feeder program. If they have a good season, they're done. They're going to move on. They're going to move up. I don't blame them a bit.
Yeah, I mean, you know what? I coached in junior college. Okay. My goal was to get my players graduated so they could move up and play at the next level, whatever level it was, Division I, Division II, NAI with a scholarship, right? I just think it's all about helping the kids achieve so they could play at the highest level, help them achieve their dream. And you know what? Also, though, the bad thing about the NIL, where kids are going all over the place, the bad part about it is I think that everybody forgets about the academic piece. What about them being a college student? What about them getting their degree done? I love the old rule when you transferred, you had to sit out a year, because now that player had a chance to work on their game, become a better player, become a better student, become a better person, be in practice every day, bigger, stronger, faster during that year. I actually like that. The only thing I don't like is this immediate transfer where guys are going all over the place.
Right. Exactly.
Best head coach you worked for, besides Dick. I know you just had a great relationship with Dick Hunsaker. Best head coach you worked for.
This is what I'll say. The guy I work for right now is tremendous. Dick Hunsaker and Tim Floyd were tremendous. And here's what I'll say. All three of those guys were unbelievable people. Not only were they all great coaches and all winners, all unbelievable people.
Mike Westfall.
Mike Westfall was one of the best players you ever had. Go ahead.
Mike Westfall was an assistant with me at Edgewood High School.
There you go.
And he went to IU. And, it's the biggest game on a Saturday night. I say, Mike, you don't need to be with us on a Friday night. You go watch this team, and then I'll meet you Saturday morning at 8 o'clock in the office, and we'll go over the scouting report. So at 5 till 8, Mike comes walking in. He's got the same clothes he had on the night before. He's got nothing in his hand. He's got no manila folder. I say, Mike, where's the report? This is the biggest game of the year. He points right to his and he goes, right here, Heck, right here.
Yeah, I never forgot that story.
I jumped on him. I was sitting on him. Mike Westfall now is what? I mean, was the associate provost at the University of Washington, and now he's at Oakland University now, maybe.
Yeah, I think he's a VP at Oakland in charge of fundraising. Heck, don't sell yourself short. You had Westfall, went into coaching. He's been an assistant athletic director at a couple D1 schools. You had Mark Schlesinger that became the head coach at the University of New Orleans, who's now he's on top assistant at Indiana State. You had some guys go all over the place.
Yeah, no, and it was such a great run. But guys like you who not only were coaching friends, and Pat knows this, he's been with guys, but we're lifelong friends. I could not see you for 6 months to a year, and all of a sudden, hey, Red, what's up, man? And it's like we're back yesteryear. That's the thing. That's the thing that is so cool for me, and I can't tell you how thankful we are. You took a few minutes out of your evening tonight to spend with us talking hoops, and you're the absolute best now. So you guys are the number 1 seed. You're going to play St. Ambrose. Please tell Ryan that I'll be watching those scores, and tell Ryan that, I mean, how much I appreciated coming in and talking to your team after that game, man. That was really cool.
You got it. Well, thanks again. We loved having you. And gentlemen, I just want to say thanks for having me on the show tonight.
Absolutely.
Anytime, anywhere, just give me a shout.
Hey, tell your boys you're on YouTube, Coach's Corner with Heck and King YouTube, man. All right,
got
Red,
it.
thanks, man.
All right,
See
have
ya.
a good night, guys. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
How interesting was that? And when I say, and this is 100% true, I could go somewhere and be at a college game somewhere, and I say, hey, do you know Red? And I don't even got to say the last name. Oh, yeah, hell yeah, we know Red. Chicago Red? Really? Yeah. He's just the absolute best and he just knows recruiting like the back of his hand.
That sounds pretty good. Hey, Scott, why don't you give me my Fricks team? We're going to jump to Fricks, and we're going to try to get out of here real quick. I've got a road team for our college basketball games this week.
The tune-up. That's got the best engine ever.
Pretty good, doesn't it? Hey, we had a lot of good college games this weekend. A lot of road teams winning this week. I could go down the list, but we're kind of short on time, even though we quit anytime we want. Friday night, Michigan State goes into Ann Arbor and beats them. So they had their rivalry game, and so Michigan State 75-62 over Michigan, and the game was for first place.
Wow.
So right now you got Michigan State at the top here with 3 or 4 games left in the season before we get to the tournament. But Michigan State is my road team of the week.
Wow.
Yeah, and so speaking of Michigan, I mean, there's one name out of the hat, right? Dusty May comes out and signs an extension and says, I'm going to be in Michigan, man. So there's one name out of the hat.
Yep.
And from what I understand, Brad Stevens have said, I'm a Celtic. I'm staying in Boston.
Right.
So there's 2 names. Any early front runners you guys have heard?
I haven't heard any.
Patrick?
Butch Beard.
That's a Chris Beard, you mean? Chris Beard. Butch Beard he's a ball player. He's a ball player.
Chris Beard.
Chris Beard from Ole Miss.
Ole Miss right now. Yeah.
And so my old head coach in high school, Bob Donald, his son, Bobby Donald Jr., is an assistant with Chris Beard at Ole Miss.
Okay.
And Coach Donald was just telling me great things about Chris Beard.
Sounds and Patino's giving him his endorsement.
Really?
Because some people were saying, hey, bring Patino in.
No, this is a place for
Which one?
The dad.
Daddy.
Yeah, right. St. John's is top 10.
Well,
Why would he
that's what
leave?
I totally agree. You know, one of the things I was going to mention too, this is a big week in the Big Ten. Michigan has 3 games this week. That's very unusual. They play tonight at Nebraska. Then they play again Thursday, have a home game with Rutgers. Then they play again Sunday at home against Illinois. So Michigan has 3 games this week.
Wow.
So I think we've had enough tonight. What do you think?
Did you guys watch Duke and Illinois?
No.
Yeah, did you see what Brad Underwood, the head coach at Illinois, said about the flag kid? He said, college basketball needs to have that kid stay another year. He needs to stay in school and chase girls and get a big NIL contract because he's a great representative for college athletics.
I agree.
I wish someone would have said that to me in Manchester.
That never happened. That never happened.
They did, but they never told you.
Hey, Ronnie needs to stay in school and chase girls.
Well, the girls' dorm was they were wanting to get you out of there.
Yeah, no, yes.
They were filing TROs on you.
The RA over there.
Thank you.
Well, you know the RA by first name. Over in the girls' dorm, that's not a good thing necessarily.
That's not a good thing.
Hey,
all right.
We will be back next week,
yes.
Same time, same place. We will talk a lot of high school basketball next week with the sectionals coming up. Sectional draw was yesterday, so we will get hot and heavy on who's playing whom, and might even have a few picks for next week. And college tournaments are going to start pretty soon too.
Well, yeah, and then we're going to have a one of the writers from, some IU press,
We're
right?
gonna get some IU people in here. Alex Bozich from Indiana Hoops.
Yep.
Indiana Halls. So
Talk about the
some
NIT.
advertising. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, they get on a run. You never know.
Hey, wait a minute. Where's that? We had a comment from a viewer. Let's put that on here real
Oh.
quick.
Which
We had
one? About
my youngest brother.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
an IU guy.
It's a family
Yeah.
affair.
Here we go. He's talking about Leal's accidental slip when he got tangled up with Caleb first. He said his foot slipped on sweaty part of the floor and accidentally might have made some contact. But
Accidentally might have kicked him in the jewels, right?
Well,
yeah.
it
Okay.
makes
Yeah,
sense.
Caleb
because
First's crotch just happened to be there.
That's
Yeah.
and the referees. That's what they saw over on TV. There was no.
And-
It was not intent. It was accident.
I didn't
And
know it was
Draymond
on
never and
first.
Draymond never kicked his leg out on Steven Adams.
Yeah. Time to go.
It was an
Time to-
accident.
time-
You're the best, man.
time
Thanks,
to go.
Scott.
Thanks, Scott.
All right.